Yes, so we are live recording this video, and today's subject we will be talking about inadmissibility issues, basically how a criminal record can render a person inadmissible to adjust status in the US or inadmissible to enter the US. And we have an invitee a criminal lawyer attorney, family law attorney, and immigration lawyer attorney. But most importantly, today, Cipriani Rookwood will be explaining to us because she's a criminal lawyer in New York, okay, bar in New York and New Jersey, and she will be explaining us certain crimes to avoid as immigrants so that we do not get in trouble when it comes to adjusting status or applying for somebody outside of the US. So we don't want to be found inadmissible. And Cipriani, I'm going to ask her a couple questions. Today we are going to focus only on four crimes, major one, of course. And then she is going to explain to us based on her expertise dealing with criminals. Okay, you don't want to be into that category, but she's a criminal attorney. Of course, we have to defend people, and she deals a lot with criminal people convicted for crimes. Okay, so Attorney Cipriani, could you please explain to us what is crimes involving moral turpitude? Because the crime involving moral turpitude will render somebody inadmissible to the US when it comes to applying for adjustment of status. From your perspective, how can you, in simple terms, explain to us what is crimes involving moral turpitude?
Hi, Bijou. Thank you for
Hi.
having me on your channel, first and
Yes.
foremost. And hello to your audience. So, again, as Bijou has mentioned, my name is Cipriani Rookwood. I have my private practice in New York, based in Brooklyn. I'm licensed in New York as well as New Jersey. And my practice areas are family law, criminal defense, not a criminal attorney, but a criminal defense attorney.
Okay, okay. My apologies.
And as well as immigration. So the question was, what are crimes involving moral turpitude?
Right.
So as you mentioned before, crimes involving moral turpitude, which the acronym is CIMT, can cause someone to be inadmissible or a bar to good moral character, right? There
Mm-hmm.
is no actual clear definition of what constitute a crime involving moral turpitude,
Mm-hmm.
but it has been vaguely defined as a depraved or immoral act or reprehensible act, or to simply put, a violation of the basic duties owed to fellow men.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you think of that, you're still asking, what the heck does that mean, right?
Right.
Um, so it's such a vague and broad definition, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so to give a bit more of a clarity, CIMT, crimes involving moral turpitude,
Mm-hmm.
generally involves intent to cause great bodily harm, defraud, or permanently deprive an owner of their property, or in
Mm.
some cases, to act with lewd intent or recklessness. So, any offense involving negligence or less is not or does not constitute a crime involving moral turpitude, right? It has to be recklessness or above.
Oh, okay.
There needs to be some sort of intent.
Okay.
However, based on this definition, you can imagine that just about any crime can bring your moral character into question and have
Mm-hmm.
immigration consequences.
Oh, okay. Can you give us like an example in New York? What
Mhm.
will constitute CIMT, crime involving moral turpitude? Just one example so we know for sure that
Okay.
someone has committed this crime.
Okay. So I will give a basic and a common offense in New York, right? Petty larceny.
Oh,
Petty larceny, even though petty larceny is a misdemeanor offense,
mm-hmm.
it could have immigration consequences if you're convicted of that offense, right?
Okay.
Because of the fact that the elements to that offense does bring into question your moral character, right? In
Mm-hmm.
the sense that the element suggest well, one of the elements of the crime is the intent to deprive someone of their property. So
Okay.
that would constitute a crime involving moral turpitude.
So people should just refrain from stealing, period, right? Just refrain
Well,
from stealing.
well, people should try their best to refrain from getting caught up in the criminal justice system in
System
general, because, like I said, just about anything
thing.
can constitute, can give rise to more. But of course, sometimes we don't, we are innocent, and people get falsely arrested all the time.
Right.
So it's not, sometimes you didn't do anything wrong, but unfortunately, you just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Wrong
and you
time.
get in trouble. So this happens. So as a defense attorney, it is very important for us to keep in mind um, immigration consequences, especially in when you're dealing with immigrants, right, who are not U.S. citizens.
Right. Okay, we got that. So the second question will be, what is controlled substance? Because when it comes to adjusting status, you can be fined inadmissible. Basically, a person trying to adjust status in the U.S. Can be fined admissible based on controlled substance crime. So, what is it? Can you just define to us what is it?
So they have enumerated. The statute is very clear and very specific about what falls under that category. But
Uh-huh.
some very simple or popular examples of controlled substance are narcotics, right? Narcotic drugs. So,
Okay.
and even marijuana is a simple one, right? In a lot of we see now in a lot of states the movement to legalize marijuana, but we have to keep in mind that it's still a federal offense, right? To have it, it's still
Okay.
not legal on the federal level as yet. So that could also constitute. It's still considered a controlled
For
substance in
substance.
federal for federal purposes.
Oh, okay. So basically, immigrant or everybody in general, they just have to avoid being cut into this type of crime because if you're an immigrant trying to adjust status or trying to get some immigration benefits, you can be find yourself inadmissible and cannot adjust status or will be even find yourself removable, deportable. So you can find yourself in removal proceedings because of this type of crime. So this is something to really avoid. We're gonna go to the next question. Because remember today we said that we're only going to focus on four crimes, like popular one that really we have seen along the practice of law. Those are the things that comes up a lot. So we wanted to focus on those four crimes first, and then we'll do a next section. Uh, then we'll focus on other crimes. But again, we're going to focus on four crimes. And the third question will be we will talk about misrepresentation and fraud. And Cipriani, could you please, as a defense attorney, criminal attorney, can you please explain to us what is really when it comes to misrepresentation? What is it?
So this could be crimes that involves, I don't know, I'm trying to think from the top of my head some crimes that we have in New York that were considered defrauding, right?
Uh-huh.
So you might have, again, still fall into the larceny category, whether it's grand larceny or petty larceny.
Uh-huh.
You could also have being caught with a forged instrument,
Uh-huh.
um, whether it's excuse me, whether it's uh, I don't know, fake license plate or
Right.
um,
Fake green
fake
card.
ID or
Uh-huh.
stuff like that, or documentation. So
Uh-huh.
any categories that basically you're trying to I don't know,
Defraud.
yeah, defraud.
Uh-huh.
Defraud. So any element, if the crime has an element that suggests or that there is some sort of defrauding, then yeah.
Okay. So I want to add something about this misrepresentation and fraud, anything deceiving. Basically, as immigrants or as just population in general, abiding law citizen, we should be avoiding deceiving. Basically, we cannot be deceiving. And when it comes to fraud, when it comes to those marriage, I have to reiterate on this because a lot of people get into those sham marriages, green card sham marriages. This is a big, big no. My friend, it is not worth it because when it comes to fraud, fraudulent marriage, there's no waiver available for that. So once USCIS or immigration court determined that this marriage was fake, so basically a sham marriage in order deceiving the US government so that you can get green card benefit and you commit fraud on this marriage, there's no waiver, there's no pardon. So you can be deported, you can be removed, or you can stay without any benefit. And it is not worth it because later on you might find, let's say you have children, your children turn 21 and you think that your children will petition for you. But unfortunately with this fraud, your children will not be able to petition for you because you cannot adjust status based on that alone. So this is so important to know because a lot of people get tempted, right? So they want to get the green card. They're like, it's taking so sometimes, and then somebody comes like, oh, I'm gonna marry you. Just give me 5,000. I'll marry you. Get a green card. My friend, this is a big no. Just don't do it. It's not worth it at all. I've
Yes,
talked
be
about
very
it.
careful indeed.
Yes, it is not worth it at all.
Yeah.
At all. So just don't do it. Period. So there's no way around it. There's no pardon for it. There's no waiver available for it. For some other crimes that we've cited, some waivers may be available. That's when you have to call. If you're in New York, please call Cipriani, the law office of Cipriani Rookwood. Phone number 718-879-3265. I'll put the number at the end. But if you are in the DC metropolitan area, you can call my office 202-751-2180. My friend, consultation fees apply. Okay. So we're almost done. This is the last question. And this question, I really have to ask it because it comes a lot when it comes to either cancellation of removal for non-lawful permanent residents or cancellation of removal for lawful permanent resident. Aggravated felony. So when you have aggravated felony, they say you're not qualified to get a benefit under cancellation of removal law. So what is it? Aggravated felony. What is it?
So, okay, so aggravated felony, it could be, well, for example, I will give an example that we see happen in New York. When I was a prosecutor, saw this happen a lot.
Okay.
If you had more than one offense, for example, for a driving while intoxicated, if you had several within a certain time period, then you might get charged with an aggravated driving while under the influence, right? An aggravated DV. You also have it in a situation for domestic violence. If you had assault or harassment cases, even though they might be previous misdemeanor cases, you could potentially be charged with an aggravated version because of, maybe the time within, maybe you had several previous convictions within a certain time limit and so forth. And so it's almost like you're a persistent criminal offender, right?
So you don't want to change. Right.
It does bring your moral character into question if you're constantly getting in trouble with the law, right? So that's one of them. And also the gravity of the offense. So whether it's murder or robbery or I don't know, being in possession of a weapon, depending on the type of weapon, those can also have the aggravated offenses. So those are harder to, I guess, try to find a waiver for. If you've committed an offense, and if you commit one offense that involves crime involving moral turpitude, doesn't necessarily make you inadmissible. The attorney, your immigration attorney, will have to look at the formula to determine whether there's a waiver applies, right? So you need to talk with an attorney, me or you, determine whether there's a waiver that applies to your case. But in a lot of cases where there's more than one offense involving crime involving moral turpitude, then it will be a little bit more difficult,
Difficult. Mm-hmm.
and it could involve deportation, not just inadmissibility, but
Right,
deportation issues as
deportation.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is the end of our live recording session. So we wanted to introduce ourselves, first of all, how we are going to be talking about those issues that intertwine with immigration, especially when it comes to criminal records. And um, and today, this is part one. We wanted to focus on only four elements, right? Four main crimes that we see around with that comes a lot with our cases, and then next time we focus on other inadmissibility issues, uh, and then we will talk, especially later in the down the line, we'll be talking about family law of because we have issues that intertwine with immigration, especially when it comes to those mix of family, like somebody's a U.S. citizen, somebody's not, then they have children, now they're fighting for custody, or they want to get a divorce, it's not working. So you are on the right place, especially if you're in New York. Let me put her number here on the screen. So you can call her 718-879-3265. And I am going to leave her other information in the description box at the end of the video once we post it. But it was nice talking to you guys on a live session recording. We'll have more live sessions where you can ask live questions. But for this one, we just wanted to introduce ourselves in this light because we'll be doing a lot of collaboration this year, so that you get used to this format of me doing those videos. We'll have single videos, we'll have live sessions, we'll have duo like this, live recording sessions. So this is it for today. Cipriani, do you have anything else to say?
No, I just want to, excuse me, I just want to thank you for having me on your channel. Excuse
Right.
me, I don't know what's, I hope it's
It's fine.
uh, I just want to thank you for having me on your channel. And I do want to mention that I will be launching my YouTube channel on February 1st. So
Yes, yes.
I'd be happy to,
Well, we'll come back here to introduce you with your YouTube channel on February 1st. And we hope that your subscribers are going to follow along, because she'll be really talking a lot with, especially when it comes to family law and criminal law. And if you live in New York, you have immigration hearing. Please do not hesitate to call her office. And if you're here, of course, or across the country, you can either call me or her. Doesn't really matter, because we are trying to really collaborate and bring all our expertise together. But for me, I'm only focusing on immigration law for now. Later on, I will be doing family law for DC residents only. Okay, so until next time, bye bye.
take care. Thanks again, Bijou.
Bye bye.